Hello, all, and welcome back to Survivor Game Show Network. This is Survivor Exile Island's fourth exit interview of the season. I am one of the hosts, Ian Moorhead, joined again by my co-host, Morgan Jackson, and exit interview specialist, or the queen, as she self-proclaimed, Denny. Tonight, we are happily and unhappily joined by our fourth boot of the season, Miss Victoria Fung. Victoria, how are you?
I'm doing well.
It's
Hi,
good to see you,
Victoria.
but also, yet again, not good to see you. I got to emphasize that now.
Yeah, it's a bit too early in the season.
Yeah, we learned something from Bill. Like, I'm happy to talk to you, but not happy that you were voted out, of course.
Mhm.
So, jumping right in, Victoria, what made you sign up for this game?
So I'm part of the Survivor Specialist group, and I think I joined in the fall of 2020. And I think that was when the TRHS game was going on. And I believe Phil was covering that in his daily content. And I just noticed the coverage dropped off halfway through the season. So that made me curious about it. And then when I saw the app for this, I was just interested mostly because I thought it would be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a bone to pick with Phil on that, but that's a story for another time. Moving ahead to the first challenge, your tribe loses that challenge. You and Bill were in on that puzzle together. Now, historically, castaways on a losing tribe who partook in the puzzle don't fare that well. So, were you worried in that moment?
Yeah, I was pretty worried. Like I know I screwed up the puzzle, and I've been having trouble going back to watch that part, so I still haven't gotten around to it. But um, I knew that I was probably in trouble, but I think the fact that we were already behind probably saved me a little bit.
So, Will gets voted out first, and we find out after the votes are read that he did, in fact, have the idol. And you did receive 2 votes. So had he used the idol, you would have been the first boo. How did that make you feel?
Um, I think Will revealing that he had the idol kind of saved me a little bit because it helped me realize that I was in a bad position in the game, because the fact that he didn't play the idol meant that people were convincing him that I was really the target. And I realized he wasn't just voting because he had no other choice. So I realized that I wasn't in a good position. But my plan at that point was to stay quiet about knowing I was in a bad position. Like, I wasn't going to go to people and complain about it, because I was hoping that if people had to do damage control with Bill, they could see me as more low maintenance and maybe keep me around for that.
And did you try to connect more with the people you felt you could work with at that time? Or did you stay more on the quiet side?
I think that after that vote, I was pretty sure that if we went to tribal again, it would be me versus Bill trying to convince the majority alliance who to keep. So I think my goal was to try to convince Greg and Lilly that they should keep me over Bill.
Okay. And then moving ahead to when the new tribes were formed, Mackenzie picked you to be on the Phil tribe with Lauren, Austin, Greg, Jim, and Bill. So, how did you feel about your new tribe? Did you feel like you were in a better position, same, or worse?
Um, I guess with the supposed drama I was having with Bill on the original Phil tribe, that was a little bit worrying. But I guess I felt pretty good about the new tribe since we were in the majority. Um, and I wasn't particularly worried about it.
All right. And we heard Lauren say in a confessional that you asked in a Zoom call if Morgan's message in the group chat meant anything. And it was in fact a clue. So I was wondering, did you work on that message at all? Or did you just kind of dismiss it?
So I had a feeling it was probably something, but I guess I have an unconventional position on idols. Like I guess the thought of having an idol kind of makes me nervous because I'm pretty afraid of the idea of getting blindsided with the idol. Because if you're blindsided without an idol, you can at least pretend like you knew you were going home, but there's no opportunity to pretend if you're voted out with the idol. So I have, because of that irrational fear, like I don't think I would work to get an idol. So I guess that I was half lazy, and then half of it is I don't think I want an idol necessarily.
What would you think about finding an idol and then giving it to somebody that could be a sign of trust then? If you don't want to hold an idol, it might be good to know where an idol is and then also potentially gain an ally.
I think getting voted out with my own idol is probably worse. So I think idols are just not for me. But I think if I knew it was like a steal a vote or an extra vote, I would have worked a little harder.
So in episode 4, we see Lauren explain how to find that idol. And when Morgan and I made the clue, I remember thinking that you would be one of the people that could have found it because you were in both puzzles, and you, in the application, you said you were a self-proclaimed nerd. So I was like, well, the nerd can do the math here, and she's been a part of both puzzles. So knowing what the clue was and all of the steps, if you had went for it, would you have been able to find it?
So I guess I would have been able to figure out the number of puzzle pieces. I would probably be able to figure out the number of letters. I don't think I would have remembered who was in the picture. So I think there would have still been some holes in it.
Yeah, and for that idol clue as well, you only got 3 guesses to ask or to say who was in the picture, because if not, you could just sit there all day and just ramble everybody's name off that's ever been to Exile Island. So yeah, Morgan and Lauren actually used one of her guesses. I don't remember who she said, but it wasn't John Mish, her first guess. But yeah, that's interesting, because I definitely feel like you and Lauren, of course, as well, would have been like the people in my mind, and Bill, to be able to find that idol.
Yeah, I just like somehow the idea of getting voted out with the idol is just too much for me that I wouldn't look for it in the first place. But I guess it would be hard if I was on Exile and people think I have an idol, then I might as well have it.
Might as well go for it. Yeah.
All right.
But so was that advantage idol, or was it something else?
The advantage from Exile Island is a legacy safety without power. But the thing that Warren found with math was an immunity idol.
Oh, okay.
So moving into the next challenge, Victoria, it was the trivia and the cup stacking challenge. And you put yourself on the cups, which I was very excited to see because I knew you'd be good at balance, being that you practice yoga. So it was no surprise to me that you killed that portion of the challenge. Now your tribe didn't win. Had you waited like a few more seconds to allow Connor to stack before you, he probably would have dropped. I mean, we'll never know now, but you could have won it, but you still killed it, and you had to have felt good in that moment.
Yeah, I was definitely happy with that challenge after like 2 kind of mediocre performances. And I was pretty happy that I correctly guessed what the challenge would be beforehand also.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So then Alexa chooses Lauren to go to Exile,
Mhm,
which leaves 3 previous Alexa, 3 previous Phil.
mhm,
So one of you would have either had to jump ship and flip, or you knew you were going to rocks. Did
mhm.
any part of you want to flip? And would any part of you have flipped?
Um, I think with the new rules where it immediately goes to rocks, it would make it harder for someone like me to flip because it's hard to know where the tide vote is going in the first place. And so it's kind of risky to flip because it's really easy to vote yourself out by accident. Um, so I don't think I would have had the courage to flip given those rules. But I guess everyone thought about flipping at some point.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it tricky too, because
Mhm,
you're thinking, okay, I could flip, but someone else could also flip, so that it's hard to know what the outcome will be. I
mhm,
just think if you don't feel secure on your
mhm.
tribe, like, why not take the risk? But I totally get that it's a little scary to do that. So I'm not saying I
Mhm.
blame you. I
Yeah.
just wondered how close you were to possibly flipping, but it doesn't sound like you were close.
Mm, I guess the risk I was thinking about was I knew about Greg and Mackenzie's plan, but I guess since we weren't going with Mackenzie's half of the plan, I was worried for some reason that they would have the same mindset towards our side and kind of save the smallest threat, um, which would be me. So I kind of thought for some reason maybe they would have the same mindset, but I think I underestimated how much they wanted to work with Greg. So I think if I thought about it a little more, I would have been able to figure out the best move.
So I have a question, Victoria. Say that Greg is on Exile, and yeah, he could be. Okay, so say Greg is on Exile and Lauren is in Greg's spot, and their plan is the same. It's just to vote for Lauren so she's safe from rocks. I know you wanted to work with Greg and Bill. If it's going to be 3-3 and Lauren's safe, do you flip then to vote out Lauren instead of going to rocks? Because I don't think you mentioned Lauren as like a desired ally, and I know that you had mentioned Greg and Bill, so I'm interested to see if you would flip if the case was different.
I think it would still be hard for me to flip, but it would be a little bit more likely in that situation. Um, but yeah, that's a interesting situation because I know Lauren would never go to rock, so it's hard to know what that means, whether she already has plans to flip on me or whether she's able to persuade someone from the other side. But I guess if I was sure that she wasn't going to go to rocks and I knew that there's a 50% chance that that means she already flipped on me, then I think I would consider it.
So you see your name up there on the wheel.
Mhm.
What was that like? Because I mean, watching it is exciting, but I'm sure
Mhm.
when it's your name up there, it's not all that great of an experience.
Yeah, I guess like because it was a 1 in 4 chance, like the pie sizes were bigger than I imagined. Like I should have remembered that it would be a quarter of the circle.
So it's Bill. Bill comes up and he's like, I felt like your closest ally at this point.
Mhm.
So that must have been devastating to see that he was going out.
Yeah, it was because I guess kind of got off on the wrong foot on the original tribe, but we actually worked together on the new tribe, which takes a lot of trust, I think. And then I guess I lost him after one vote, so that was really difficult.
So moving into that next challenge, it was that times challenge, which to me was the most fun challenge to watch. And you went 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Did you think that you were around the 10-minute mark? Like, right, did you think that you were going to be really close to it? Or because when Ian started reading and Morgan was talking about, possibly throwing out some math problems, I was like, oh, I would have already been out of it. I know I would have lost my place immediately. So I was just curious if you really thought you were that close, if you were able to tune all of that stuff out.
Well, I was able to tune it out pretty well, but I guess whatever my counting method was too slow.
A lot of people did fairly well in the challenge. I expected to see a lot more people drop very soon. So that was my favorite challenge to watch. So after that, Greg gets chosen to go to Exile, keeping him immune. And you said that you were aware of your place in the game and you were willing to adapt. At that point, we see you in a Zoom call with Mackenzie and Lauren, and they throw out the possibility of a girls' alliance. So did you think that they were being sincere in bringing that to you?
Not really, but I had to try something, and I thought that my options were either the girls' alliance thing or somehow get Jim and Austin to vote out Lauren. And I thought I could only try one option, not both at the same time. So I didn't really think it was going to work, but it was the only thing I thought about at that point.
Yeah, I know for me, if I wasn't trusting the girls, I probably would have went to the guys and said, hey, the girls are talking to me about a girls' alliance, and trying to pull them to vote out one of the girls. So did that cross your mind at any point?
Yeah, for some reason, I was thinking like I can only go for one option. So yeah, I should think about that for next time. Because I thought like if I was pretty sure that both sides would come together and still vote me out.
Morgan, your questions?
Hey, yeah, we have a bunch of questions from our Facebook group. Lots of people want to hear your thoughts. So first we have John David Millsip, and he asked, what was your thought process in the tribe swap draft?
So
when you guys were choosing new tribe members.
So my choice was between John and Jim. So I didn't really have that much information on John, but I think he was trying to be a villain in the TRHS game. And then I know he's persuasive, so I don't think a persuasive villain is the best to have on a tribe. And then I knew that he was close with Mackenzie and Austin, and then there was the relationship with Lauren also. So that was kind of worrying, and I kind of felt like Jim was possibly on the outs on the original Alexa, so that's why I picked Jim.
John, notice she said trying to be a villain.
I remember sitting there and kind of being shocked that you didn't pick John, just because I knew you from when we did our Survivor China rewatches, and John was one of those people that was on there. And I know you had at least briefly had a conversation with John before. So I was kind of shocked. But yeah, I guess when you see the layout of your tribe, I feel like you made the correct.
And then Yeah, I guess like some players have like I guess for me like an outside relationship would matter a lot in the game, but I think some players are able to put that aside. So I don't think the personal relationship would have made much of a difference.
Yeah, you basically answered McKenna's question. Ian, she had also mentioned the China rewatches and asking if that relationship would have made a difference. But obviously, you had thought a lot about that decision between John and Jim. Jay Milligan asks, well, he says, you were one of my favorites. I'm so sad to see you go. The game did not have odds in your favor. Do you think you were a victim of your own pick or screwed by the twist of Exile Island on this season? And why, which one more so?
So I don't like to say that I'm screwed by the twist, but I think that the twist of Exile Island is a disadvantage to quieter players, I guess, especially since the decision to go to Exile Island is decided in more of a discussion format. So if a quieter person speaks up, they have to kind of risk their game at that point. So I think the louder voices are usually what carry the decision. And then I think in the 5th episode, I think that my poor social game from the beginning of the game was kind of carrying into that. And I think that's why they sent Greg to Exile Island. So I think that Exile Island was just accentuating the social game issues I was having.
All right, Greg asks, and we kind of did touch on this a little bit, but he asks, how seriously did you consider flipping at the first Phil 2.0 vote, or were you committed to the 3-3 tie? The episode made it seem like you were on the brink of making a move to take somebody out.
So when I was watching the episode, I actually thought it was funny that I was the suspenseful vote because I didn't think that would provide much suspense. But yeah, I don't think I thought about it seriously enough. But I think given the outcome where I went out in episode 5 the way I did, I don't think I have regrets about my decision. And I also think that I wouldn't have been in the game at that point if it weren't for Greg, because I think he might have pushed the decision to Will in the first episode. So I guess I was a bit too thankful for that also.
See, you had me in suspense because I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to shock all of us and she's going to do it. She's going to flip.
Well, apparently the other tribe thought that I was the one that flipped. So maybe people believe I can do that.
Exactly. So maybe you can.
Victoria, do you like constantly calculate the probabilities of certain outcomes? I feel like just talking to you, you are talking about, well, the chance of this happening or the possibility that this would happen. Does that play a big factor in your decision making?
Yeah, so one of the main games I play is backgammon, which is kind of similar to poker in some ways. And I think ever since I started playing that game, I started talking more in probability language. But I guess the problem is when you are assigning the wrong probabilities to stuff. So I should work on that.
Look at
Yeah,
us.
people are a little bit more unpredictable than
Math
pieces in backgammon. All right, Lily has the next question. Had Jim gone home, so instead of you, what would have been your game plan moving forward to get to the merge?
I had a feeling that there would probably be some kind of swap again. And I think if it was just like 1 or 2 more episodes before the merge, I would have worked even harder at the challenges and try to use that to get to the merge. Because I think if I was on any kind of small tribe, there would be problems again. So I think I would have spent a lot of time practicing whatever I need to do for the challenges.
So if Jim had been voted out, that probably would have meant that Lauren and Mackenzie voted with you. Do you think that you would have chosen to keep working with them?
I think at that point I was pretty flexible. Like whoever includes me in a vote will probably have me in their alliance, because I was kind of feeling on the outs with Alexa and Phil. So whatever can get me to the next episode would probably drive my decision. Because I think that I would be like a anybody but me type of player.
Which is why it's kind of surprising to me that no one kind of pulled you in and took you under their wing, you know, like, yeah, they're working with each other, but they're also kind of suspicious. Is this person really with me? Is he or she not really with me? So to not pull you in was so bizarre.
Yeah, it
Like
was a little hard to watch the decision to send Greg to Exile, because I felt like I was a more loyal version of Greg that wasn't likely to make a huge move. And then I think if I did make the merge and people weren't able to get me to their side, like they could just vote me out. But I think voting Greg out would be pretty difficult. So I wish they considered it a little more.
All right, our next question is from Britley. She says, Victoria, loved watching you and you have a great sense of humor. My question is, who did you want to work with the most in this game?
I guess there's a lot of people I wanted to work with. I guess if the Lilly and Greg alliance was more legit, that would have been fun. And then I would have enjoyed working with Bill if things went a little bit differently. And then I think from the Alexa side that I didn't meet, I was interested in working with Andrew and Michael just based off of first impressions. So yeah, I wish I stayed in the game longer to actually work with these people. And then I guess like an unexpected alliance with Lauren would have been fun too.
Awesome. All right, our last question is from Alex Trias. He says, congratulations on what I hope was a great experience for you, Victoria. Survivor has a way of bringing out things about you that you may not have known you had in you. Do you think you learned anything new about yourself from this experience?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot about myself. I guess like now that I'm watching it back, like I think I'm able to kind of see some of the weaknesses in my game. And I think I can reflect on that for the future. But I also think that I also have strengths that other people might not have. Like I think that I'm pretty good at reading people. I think that's one of my biggest strengths, and it's nice to see I was at least correct when I watch it back. But I'm just hoping next time I can improve my social game so I can have the correct read that I'm in a good position.
Yeah, that's in my notes. Actually, like a lot of what you were voicing that you were thinking was happening was actually happening. Like your instincts were really spot on. It's just the connecting thing. And, I said that during the cast assessment that was going to be the thing for you. Were you going to be able to connect? And I just think moving forward, just step out of your comfort zone even more and just be willing to dive in and get to know people. And I think you'll be golden.
Yeah. And another thing too, just to, keep adding on, is that you can work on your social game, but instincts, I mean, that's just something you either have or you don't. So yeah, I remember you calling out Will for having the idol in episode 1, I think, right at the end of episode 1. And then, yeah, even tonight, one of your answers, I was like, that's a really good read and it's spot on. So yeah.
Did no one else think that Will had the idol?
You were the only one to like directly be like, Will has it. Everyone else was kind of like, we don't know what's going on. Like he might have it. You were the only one to just by name be like, Will has the idol.
It happened several times where your instincts were spot on, and that was pretty cool to watch. What was the most challenging part of the game? Now, you'd probably say social. So if it was the social aspect, what would be the second most challenging aspect of the game then?
I guess like the lying to somebody before voting them out. Like I kind of seem like I don't really have a problem with people going home, but I don't really want to lie to them first. So if they just go home some other way, I'll be happy with that. But I think if you don't lie to them up front, then, it could have happened like the first vote where people were using me as the secondary target. And all of them were lying to Will. So maybe I should have done that too.
Well, interesting you bring that up because that's what I was thinking when I watched the last episode, when you're sitting in that Zoom with Lauren and Mackenzie and they were lying to you. So I was wondering, would you prefer that, them lying to your face, or would you prefer them saying, Victoria, it's going to be you?
I guess I should treat them lying to me as the equivalent of them telling me I'm going home, and then act like they actually told me, because I was 80 to 90% sure they were lying and I didn't do anything about it. But maybe next time when I have people lying to me, I'll treat it like they're telling me I'm going home.
Yeah, because watching it, I'd be like, yeah, these girls are full of shit. And they're insulting my intelligence. That's how I would feel. Like they really think that I'm gonna believe them. But yeah, I would have.
And then I guess if I'm being lied to, I have to decide whether it's good to make it obvious I know I'm being lied to or play clueless. I'm not really sure. But I'll think
always
about
a couple options.
All right, describe your game in one word.
I think this is a teaser for whatever is to come. Teaser.
All right. And you already mentioned the future. So does that mean you are going to put in for another game?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun in this game, and then I even started working out because I'm considering applying for the real game. So the fact that I'm working out means I'm pretty serious.
That's awesome, Victoria.
Yeah, that's great.
Love to hear that. See, maybe it sparked something in you. Now you're hungry. You're hungry to play again. Well, I can't wait to see it. Hey, real thing, I'll be watching. So Good luck to you. Oh, thank you so much, Victoria, for sitting down with us. It was such fun watching you. I definitely look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Same. Thanks for having me on this season and all of your hard work.
Oh, no problem. Again, just echoing what Denny said, thank you so much for both playing, giving it your all, and also joining us tonight to give us a little more insight into your game.
Mhm.
Well, thank you all for joining us once again for another exit interview, this time with our fourth boot on Survivor Exile Island, Miss Victoria Fung. Be sure to subscribe and to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at Survivor Game Show Network, because new episodes and new content drop every week. New episodes Monday and Thursday of our season, Survivor Exile Island. Until next time, we'll see you then.